We got to get together. Okay, welcome to the Hank Cisco Show, ladies and gentlemen. My guest today is the president of Northtown Town Council. Northtown, the county seat of Montgomery County. Okay, and we're in the headlines every day today because we're having a little bit of a problem. And but one thing I can say about council, we're facing it. Okay, they're having a meeting. They had a meeting last night, the TV, the news, all about a building up on Sandy Street. So the council is addressing it, and I don't want to go into details because it's part of an investigation and all, but I want the President Council, Bill Cauldwell, to just mention something. I'm just going to take a couple of minutes so we'll know, let the people know that we're not hiding anything. We're going to come out with an investigation. Whoever did wrong will be straightened out, whatever it may be, but Northtown's moving forward. Okay, go ahead, tell me.
Well, Hank, thank you. Number one, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure to be on the Hank Cisco Show. And before we get to that, the other thing that I wanted to mention was something I heard today, and that's that you're on 20 years now in Northtown on TV.
Yeah, I'm on TV with 20 years. Northtown High School. You know, I got to thank John Doyle, you know, for having me on here, and you know, and I'm able to let the people know what's going on in Northtown. Now, I'm not here to hurt anybody. We're here to help people, okay? With doctors, lawyers. I had a foot doctor here last night. I have knees, joints, cancer, that whole bit. So this is what it's all about. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, we're Comcast and we're also Verizon. So, all right.
So let's
go.
20 years almost goes back to when I was here in high school. So.
Oh yeah, oh no kidding.
Yep.
You're a graduate of Northtown High School?
I'm a graduate of Northtown High School.
Oh my God.
So yeah, almost goes back far enough, but not quite far enough. But that's a
well, here 20 years on this TV show. All right,
it's a commendation to you.
Just a 2-minute brief. I'm going to do like they do on big time TV. I'll give you 2 minutes. Tell me what's going on up there on Sandy Street.
Last night, and for those who've been following kind of what was going on Sandy Street.
The Times Herald has a pretty good coverage.
Right.
Good coverage, I should say.
Last night we had this was, I guess, our third public meeting, I should say, with both the press as well as the residents of Sandy Street. And it was to make public the preliminary and parts of the preliminary investigation that we could last night, so that the residents had a little bit more information to go on. You know, way back when this started, and I'll go through it briefly. You know, this year in 2010, both our codes administrator and our building inspectors were called up to 770. When they got there, they saw things that didn't make sense, that made them feel very uneasy about the building. Subsequent investigations, really, we had to make the very hard decision to condemn the building and evacuate and ask for the residents to be evacuated. Tough decision. I think it's probably the toughest decision that I've had to make since while on city council, because you know there were 27, 28 families involved. 9 of them were owners of condominiums. Just you know, heartbreaking to watch what those folks had to go through. And it became very clear very early on that not only did you have a building contractor, a general contractor who was the builder and the developer, that did really allowed very poor construction, poor workmanship to go on, to the point where the building wasn't safe.
Somebody wasn't looking over somebody's shoulder.
That's exactly right. That, you know, it also became very clear very early on that our own building inspection process that was going on in 2006 through 2010 had problems.
Right.
And you know, council recognized that early on. We had been working for a number of years to correct that. I think it's as the report said last night, or the investigator said last night, you know, it was a near perfect storm. And like most things that happen big like this, it's not just one thing or one person that does anything. It's a combination of things that came together. And that was really...
You can't put your finger on one particular one. I would sum it up.
Yeah, there are a number of things that happened.
I would sum it up. I wouldn't say sum it up, but I'm saying, and I've talked to a lot of people in the time, because I live here, I'm around, I get around. But who's worse, the one that does it or one that allows them to do it? So I don't know, they didn't allow them to do it, but they wasn't doing their job. Whoever it was not doing their job, and that seemed to be the problem. the contractor wasn't doing his job, the inspector wasn't doing his job, and it's a combination of things, and it's a shame that Northtown's getting this kind of publicity. But
it is.
we got a lot of good things going, you
Yep.
know, beside that. So,
Yep.
so what's the outcome going to be?
And in this case, you know, I think that my feeling and is that, you know, ultimately you have ultimately as a builder, I think you have the opportunity to do things right or do things wrong.
Right.
And
You
you know,
wanna-
every person's got to make that decision in their lives, and I think that so I don't you know want to say that you know if the building inspection process would have been better, this would or wouldn't have happened. Yeah. But you know, clearly on our part, the building inspection process didn't happen right.
Look,
but the good news.
Give me some good news,
because it really is not. There's not a lot of good news in you know when you have to move people out of their homes, and there is not good news. But one of the things that the investigation has pointed out is that in 2008, 2007 a little bit, but more in 2008, you know, council had recognized that there were problems in the department. I don't think any of us really realized the extent of the problem, but we started to put together the fixes that will bring us through this. And that was one of the things that I was very pleased that in the interim report stated. And that was one of the things we wanted to see was, did we have processes in place?
There's another report coming through, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, are there now processes in place that would prevent similar things from happening? And you know, if there's an upside to this, the upside is that there are in fact processes now that would prevent this kind of tragedy from happening again. So
well, I think
we will continue to concentrate on how do we make the building and the codes department better versus, you know, who, in a sense, versus who's to blame. The who's to blame piece will come out, but the piece that's going to be important in the long run is how do we make this and along with all the services
now
we give better.
You got an investigation going on too, what they call a grand jury investigation. Now, what stemmed that? What caused that?
Well, that you would really have to talk to the DA or to the, I assume, to the DA about.
How do they get involved?
That's, you know, that they do. They do that on their own. I don't, you know, we really don't.
People complaining?
That could, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
maybe that's what you need to clear it. To find out, get everybody in there, get all the contractors, all the developers and everything, and just find out, you know, are the contractors and the builders and everybody, the people that come in are getting a permit, are they being treated properly? Maybe they don't. See, if a policeman does things wrong, the police chief, it's his obligation to say either fire him or send him back and retrain him, okay? So it's one or the other. Now, we got to get a better attitude that when somebody comes up to the city hall for a permit or something, say, what can I do to help you? Rather than say, what do you want? You know, we don't want that attitude. We want good. Northtown was the county seat. It was the doorway to Valley Forge, and we got so many things going good, okay? Even the other day here, we had this here pretzel factory come out with a new cheesesteak pretzel factory. It was unbelievable. They gave cheesesteaks out from 11 to 2. They gave away over 600 within an hour. People came. So it goes to show that in Northtown we have parking, we have transportation, we got highways, we got everything here. They got the courthouse. We got, you know.
You're right about that. It's, you know, and that was Mark Scott is the owner of the pretzel factory on Main Street, and you know, he's had the shop now for a couple of years, and he's done a couple of great things.
He's married to a Northtown girl.
Absolutely, you know,
local.
homegrown business people, which is always nice to see. In fact, my office is just, you know, 2 blocks from him on Main Street. And so yeah, we're really happy to see him succeeding, and you know, it's nice to see people succeeding in spite of the fact that the economy is not generally has not been as good as we'd like it to do. But yeah, people will come down to Main Street, and the Arts Festival was another
now let's talk
classic
about that.
example
Now let's talk about something positive, and it's on the move. I know that Stan Husky, myself, and another group of Pat Mascara and Charlie Tonetta and we got Verb, Bradford. Everybody's pitching in with council for a theater in Northtown. A theater gets a root of different clientele will come to Northtown. It will bring restaurants. It will bring, you know, especially now we get these people come from the courthouse.
More than just theater, more than just a theater, though. That's the neat thing about the Arts District. The Arts District, you know, right now we have two fine theaters that operate out of Northtown, Iron Age Theater as well as Theater Horizon,
Right.
and they operate out of the Cultural Center. And you're right, there are plans. The Cultural Center has plans to increase the space, the performing space, and do some moves inside the building that I think will really be a you know, make that a foundation. But beyond that, you know, there are so many different things that go on in creative industries, and creative industries, whether it's theater, whether it's TV, or whether it's, you know, things like graphic design or architects
right.
or designers.
Right.
Those are industries that are really very well adaptable to a more urban setting, a setting like we have downtown.
Right.
You know, those are folks that are very willing to come into areas that you know, conventional office buildings, or people that work in conventional office buildings may not. And they're coming. And what we did this year was put together, well, really over about 18 months, was put together an arts council that comprised itself of not only of artists but of business people.
I've had them on my show, and they tell
Yes.
people about it. Right.
Yeah. So very successful launch in April. Geez, I took 2 days off work to work on it, you know, putting tents up and things.
Great.
I mean, it was a fairly small group of volunteers, but a huge group of supporters that were out there. We were able to put together a program that had 4 stages running all the time for a day in Norristown.
Right.
You know, you mentioned it really when you talked about the people that were involved. It was, you know, absolutely a bipartisan kind of. There were Republicans, there were Democrats, there were, you know, they cut across all lanes. It cut across the entire diversity of Norristown.
Right. That's
it was
the
a
point.
fantastic day.
Diversity. You
Yep.
know, why we're not grabbing a hold of this diversity? Okay, I was born in Brooklyn, but you know, it was only 4 or 5 when my parents moved to Norristown. But everything was. But I love New York. I like big cities because of diversity, different people, different restaurants, different, you know, and that's why I like to visit a big city, because everything's there. We have it here. We have Marshall Street, diversity there, all kinds of restaurants and different people, you know. It's just wonderful. Now, that should be the whole thing. Now, we have a zoo in Norristown, okay? It's called the Elmwood Park Zoo.
Yep.
Now, I would say it should be called the Norristown Zoo, okay? I'm really serious about that, you know. I started the police office in 1951. The park was free, okay?
Oh,
All
I
right,
remember.
I know you need expenses, keep everything, but we should be getting some money out of that. We could get some $2 or $3. They get 100,000. They get 100,000 visitors a year. You mean to tell me we can't get a couple bucks? They get rent free, get everything. I would call it Indian reservation, a casino, because they don't pay nothing, and they keep all the money.
Well, I think you have to look at it
We could make some money, just enough to maintain it.
I think you have to look at it a couple of ways. One is that you know, the zoo, the Zoological Society is not you know, is not something that's run or controlled by municipal government. They stand on their own.
We should never give it away then.
For right or wrong, and this happened at least 10, probably 15, maybe even 20 years ago. You know, there was a decision made that the zoo would be better run by you know, the Zoological Society, and you know, that deal was worked out where they acquired leased the land, I believe, for I think it's $1, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, it's a standard kind of lease, and they would operate the attractions at the zoo, and you know, those things happen. You know, I'm sure that it was the right thing to do at the time.
No, I'm not.
I don't know how you can go in then and come back and ask someone then to pay something that they don't have to.
I don't disclose this, but I have a John Barnes. He said that back in what year, that his father donated land for where the park is. You know. So back in 1908, and I couldn't believe it. I said, "Oh, this guy's talking out of his head." He sent me the deed where he gave the money.
Wow.
The deed of the money. I mean, the ground that he gave at the zoo. it was there for a park.
Yeah.
That land was given to the park. So it went from here to the borough to there, and we're not getting anything. So I don't know. It's something to look at. I don't want to, I don't want a Philadelphia newspaper to come in and say, oh, we got something on Northtown. Let's look at ourselves. Let's look at this. See what we got here.
The other thing you have to look at with that is that in fact, I think the zoo does bring a lot of it brings 100,000 people in that would not
it brings
would not have
100,000
come
people.
in.
But
Otherwise.
100,000 people don't come to Northtown. They come to Northtown in and out.
But if you get a piece of that, you're doing well. And I think
we should. We should get a piece of it. I think $2 or $3.
But I mean, if you get a piece of the people coming in without the money, I think you're just as well off with that.
All I see is buses come in, boop, 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 beep, and out. Okay, and I go into the gift shop. I'm not knocking. I'm building. Okay, I'm building bridges. Okay, and there's nothing there promoting Northtown. We got the courthouse. We got churches. We got architect design. I had Dr. Grafer here one day. And I drove her around town. She says, oh my God, the beautiful buildings you got here, architecture. You go to any town, you don't find that.
That is very true.
So we have to promote our town, wherever it is. If we're giving somebody, the guy, there was a movie director, he said to the guy, he says, look, why are you so mean to your employees? He says, as long as they eat my bread, they're going to sing my song. So what I'm saying here is that we got all that land out there, prime land, okay? I was talking to a commissioner from another township. He says, oh, Hank, he says, no, that's do you want it? Do you want that? You want the 25, 30 acres? And you don't get no money, the taxes, you got to pay the thing. No. Oh, well, no.
Problem is,
something to look at.
You can't take once you give it away, you can't take it back, Hank.
Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Well, I don't know that you I don't know that you would want to do that to the zoo, but.
Well, hey, I like the zoo, okay, but like I say, the zoo should like us. Call it Northtown Zoo at least. Change an image. It's Northtown Zoological. I can't pronounce that. Well, Northtown Zoo. Give us credit. We get a perception of everything's bad in Northtown. Not everything's bad in Northtown.
You know what you should do though?
We got the Columbus Monument.
You'll need to get them on here and ask them that question.
Who's that? I wanted to meet with them. I wanted to meet. They never met with me. And I think they got 17 members and none live in Northtown. So that's another. As you as president, I don't want no fight or anything. Let's sit down and talk to these people and see what story and see where we're at. Because one hand washes the other. They can help us. I like to see when they come to. Okay, you come to Northtown, 10 o'clock, go to the zoo, have lunch, boom, then come down to Northtown, then stick around, 6 o'clock, then you go to theater. You spend the whole day in Northtown.
In fact, we did that on at the Arts Festival. We had, the SEPTA had their hybrid bus in, and they did exactly that. They shuttled people from the Arts Festival to the zoo and back again for about 6 hours during that day. And that was very successful. That was very, very successful.
Like $10 and I think $10.75 for adults admission.
Oh, I have no idea.
$10 and something. That's a lot of money. Do you know how much you pay at the Cape May Zoo? Free.
I don't know.
And they have giraffes there.
Well, there you go.
And it's free, but they donation on the way out. It's just something to think about. I'm trying to make, we have to make money.
But I think what is the important thing for your viewers to understand is that it really is not, it's not, the zoo is their own operation. There is no way for local government to legislate anything for them because they're, because that was done 20 years ago by when the zoo was originally taken out of the operation of the borough. And frankly, I think back when they did that, it was either close the thing down or get somebody else to run it. Yep. But we can wish that things may have been done different. But I don't think realistically, I don't think there are tools out there that would allow us to say, you're going to include us. You're going to, they're going to include us if they're out of their own goodwill. Well, and I think that's where it needs to be worked on.
We'll discuss that a little later. Okay. Okay. Now, what else we got cooking in Northtown? I would like to see more on-street parking. People want to come to Northtown Park. We got parking space. We got the SEPTA 560 parking. We got Main and Cherry Street. Now, Main and Cherry Street, there's a parking lot there, and there's some businesses there, like the pretzel factory, and but now right across, right in front of the parking lot there, building on the Main and Cherry Street, there's no parking. Well, that could be on-street parking. I don't know why. So
We'll
check on that.
We'll
Just
take
see.
a look at that. I mean,
you know,
part of it.
like somebody could stop. People were stopping there to get some pretzels. I mean, it was the people from the courthouse, and you know, it was great to see that. You know,
Part of that is exit and entrance ramps to the parking garage. So those obviously won't be spaces.
yeah, but it's big. There's only
Yeah, we'll look
here.
at
Just
we'll look at
at
that.
least 2 or 3,
We'll look at
just
that.
enough for a guy to stop and you know and see what the story is.
The good news, though, on parking is right now in downtown, we've got plenty of parking downtown. So I know that gets a little bit dicier as you get out into the neighborhoods. But right now downtown looks good. We've got room to expand, the room for business expansion downtown, and still not have a parking problem, a real problem, into the future.
I think you should take a little survey. I have a little survey here. A friend of mine was involved in county survey. It's asking different questions. Did you ever live in Northtown? You know, and why did you move? You know, and what are some of the things that what's your perception of Northtown? You know, we want to get some feedback from people, and I think we can learn from what people moved out, why they moved out, or why they want to come in. You know, do they come here to worship? Do they come here to shop? You know, so I think if we get the people involved more, I think it'll be better. I'm going to show this here survey. Just look at it. Have your people look at it, and you add or subtract to it. But it's a good foundation, because and then lighting. You know, I know up and I'm picking on this. My 1700 block of Powell Street. I have 2 lights there. I mean, it looked like a spooky movie at night. You know, and
I know.
So now it's nice to have all the lights along DeKalb Street and all was nice, you know. But every house, almost every house on 1700 block of Powell, is homeowners, you know, taxpayers pay, and it's dim. Now the back alley, I want you to take a ride by sometime. Just look in the back alley. There's 5 lights. It looks like Broadway. So all I'm saying is let's survey, because I remember Frank Rizzo says, look, you know, the thief is afraid of the light and he's afraid of the sound. Okay, so we make noise and light up the town. You know.
We have and it may be here, but I don't think it's here yet. We do have the folks who do our lighting.
I'd
have
like
a
to talk
website.
to somebody on there.
Have a website that is either very recently up or coming that will let you report problems and kind of track them. And I mean, we have not. Council's looked at that a couple of times, and we're not as happy as we'd like to be with the lighting at all.
I'm glad to hear you say that. I'm glad to hear you say that.
And we will be addressing that with the like I said, we have a lighting contractor.
You know,
that
as
does
an
that.
ambassador, use me a little bit. You know, every once in a while. I told Forrest, I says, when somebody comes in town and wants to open a new business, let me know, and then I'll contact them, and I'll have a little ceremony cutting the ribbon to let people know somebody's coming in.
Yep.
So you know, my job as an ambassador was to help promote the town. But you got to feed me ammunition to fire.
Well, right. With the economy as bad as it's been all over, folks coming in starting have been a little bit. You know, it's slow for everyone.
A
little less than we'd like, but you know, all in all, I mean, I think that we're surviving. Again, my business is on Main Street also, and you know, business has been much more difficult this year than it was last year. But the business owners, I think, by and large, are surviving. They're not breaking any records, but they're going to make it through. And you know, the trick will be to position ourselves for Norristown to position itself to be ready to jump as the economy starts to move ahead again. Because you know, we're not. I mean, the reality is
we're preparing though. We're preparing.
Right.
If things start to develop with the parking we have here, with fixing up the sidewalk, let's talk about that too. Fixing up the sidewalks, that means a lot too. When people come in, the first impression, you know. And another thing I wanted to check out while you're here, on Main Street, they paved Main Street, but the guy that did the paving, the sewer lids are dropped about that much. And like, I don't know if you can
I have noticed that.
There's no reason for that. That guy ought to come back and fix that. So
I noticed that too.
yeah, I mean, they're not going to get worse. You know, so worse, is that the word? Yeah. I mean, you know, it's almost like a pothole. Well, look, now what else? We got a couple of 30 seconds
Couple
here
of minutes, all right.
Tell me what's good about Northtown.
You know, you hit it the first time. You know, if you are looking for a place to live where you know you want to see diversity, you want to have some an urban experience with a small town feel to it, get great value for your money, Northtown is really the place to live. I mean, I don't know where any of us could have come in and purchased the kinds of properties that we have and the kind of living space.
You're right,
kind of
you're right.
just-
And central location.
Yeah, central location with a great community feel. You get back in the neighborhoods, we have a great community feel, great diversity.
Right.
I think that's what makes Northtown, and that will continue to be Northtown's strength.
The studios put back on the table, right? The studio, Meds of Meds.
I don't think for the foreseeable future until the state
Well, when they made
decides
their
what they're doing,
presentation
I don't
down
think anything's going
when
to.
they made their presentation, they were talking about why they came to Northtown because of transportation, because of
And
I
those
got,
things-
why'd you call it Northtown Studios? Oh, yeah, it's good. Okay.
Well, but you know what? Those things still are attractive to businesses, whether it's a studio or whether it's
we
something
got
else.
we got everything
It's
here.
there.
Transportation, we got the whole bit. You know, county seat. We got. Oh my God.
You get too excited, Hank.
All right. So, do I get a signal for 30 seconds here? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot. Bill, thanks a lot.
Oh,
You know,
pleasure.
I
Always
hit
a
some
pleasure.
punches left and right, but you know, it's good to. You know, it isn't how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up.
Right.
And that's Northtown. Right now, we get knocked down a couple of bits, but we're going to get up fighting. You know.
Well, you know what? The other thing is they say that you can judge the character of a person not when things are going well, but when things are going badly. And I think you can judge the character of a town the same way. And you know, we will go through the hard times.
We will.
We'll get back up to
We're
where we
going
need
to
to
look
be.
at about these street people, and I had Reverend Bass here. You know, we talked about that's another thing. You know, with these street people, where do these street people go? You know, just like when you put the light out, where's it go at? Where's the light go? I don't know. Where do these street people go? We can get a good place. You know that Reverend Bass is a lawyer.
I did know that.
He's sharp as a tack.
And the other question to ask on that is where did they come from? That's the key question.
Well, that's the thing. That will be. You know,
how does it
I
seem
checked the
that
different places.
everyone
San
gets
Diego
here?
is an example. San Diego, they have a line on that. A lot of good stuff.
Yep.
So we can work on it, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, until we meet again, let's have a little toast here.
Salute.
And salute to your health. Hey, salute.
I remembered.